snappy, won't you? I have some very heavy thinking to do before 10 o'clock.
There we go. Good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
This is Get It Right Texoma with the trio, and that's Trey,
Yes, me.
Terry, and Mike.
Mike is right here, our podcast partner in the sky.
Yep.
Great friend.
Yep.
Miss him all the time.
Yep, and he trained us up well. We're still falling short of the glory of Mike's broadcast.
He was a dang good broadcaster.
That's
There's
right,
no
he
doubt.
was.
There's no doubt.
So anyway, we've got a good show like we do every.
Yeah, we go live every Friday morning at 7:30.
Yep.
On Facebook and YouTube. I hope it's on YouTube.
And YouTube
today.
I haven't been checking. I got a little note earlier, so we'll see if it goes. But we'll make sure it gets up there. But please comment, share, subscribe, all that good stuff. The bells and whistles, and
Be sure to subscribe. But to me, that's the most important thing.
Yep.
Because if you subscribe, then you get the notification. Then you go, oh, let me see who their guest is.
Right.
And if it's cool, it's cool. If you don't care, then don't care.
There you go.
But today's guest is cool, and you dang sure need to listen to her.
Yeah.
It's Emily Antonio.
Okay.
She's with Turning Point USA, the MSU chapter of Turning Point USA.
It's fairly new, isn't it?
I believe so.
Yeah.
She'll kind of tell us a little bit about the scoop on that.
All right. And then we'll have anyway, other than that, I guess we'll get right into it. This is Get It Right Texoma.
That's right.
So, all right. So what do we got going
First
there?
item on the agenda, as always.
Our restaurant focus.
Local restaurant.
Hopefully everybody's seen that commercial we
you
made.
got a new commercial out here.
The running for president.
Yeah, it's a tough job.
Yeah, the flavor council. Yeah, there's whatever it was.
Problem is, I'll have like Guy Fieri or something show up and run against me, and I'll be screwed.
Yeah. All right. So
I'll have spiky hair and shitloads of jewelry.
Yeah. So there we go.
El Chaton.
El Chaton.
I had never eaten here. It's on 9th Street. It's over there by Sevy's Burritos, actually. But it's on 9th Street. It's in that little area there. I've heard it's really good food, but they opened up a second location on Holiday Road, not Holiday Street, Holiday Road, which is the old Gene's Tasty Burger. So, been around for a while. That's Gene's Tasty Burger.
Okay.
I got a taco plate there the other day. It was fabulous. Wow. And I am a taco nut. Tacos are my go-to Mexican food. And it was a crispy taco, but you could tell it wasn't like they didn't get a, Old El Paso off-the-shelf tortilla.
Right.
They made their taco shells.
Right.
The taco shell was a fried taco shell, and it was really, really tasty. The meat had a really good flavor. The beans and rice. Rice is never, generally at a Mexican restaurant, not super flavorful. It's there, and there's a flavor to it. To me, I always like to mix the beans and rice together.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, because it just adds some depth to that bean flavor and everything.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I like the bean. If I'm doing it, I usually kind of like to get an enchilada and a taco or something, and then the beans and rice. And I think the enchilada, I like, or I get a couple enchiladas. I like the cheese. I love cheese and onion on it. And then I usually get a beef one as well.
The one thing about Mexican food, it really mixes well together.
Oh,
I mean, you can almost. The lettuce you might not want to, but most everything on a Mexican food plate, you can mix it together. It just kind of flows. It all goes together there.
Yeah.
So, but El Chaton, the food is good. I've tried it personally. It's really good food. They're doing well because they have a second location, and check out their menu. I mean, look at the food there. It's just unbelievably good.
How do we get
Looks
to
good.
El Chaton.
Good. The next there you go.
And then they've got
there's hours. Scroll down, over to the right.
Go down to the.
Well, there's a big sign right there.
Oh,
new hours.
Well, there's that. Yeah.
Yeah, Monday through Saturday from
7 a.m. to 3 p.m. So
right.
It sounds like they do breakfast burritos too.
Yeah,
breakfast. I would assume breakfast something.
Oh yeah, there's not a Mexican restaurant that's not open that doesn't do a breakfast burrito. So they're going to do breakfast and lunch, and you can catch an early supper or grab you something to have for dinner. The other nice thing about Mexican food is it warms up really well.
Oh yeah,
other than the lettuce.
Yeah.
As long as you don't have lettuce and tomatoes in there, you feel that stuff. If you have an air fryer is an amazing invention.
Mm-hmm.
And you throw that stuff into an air fryer, and it comes back to life. It crisps up again and all that.
Yeah, it's better than the George Foreman grill.
Yeah. I mean, I like George Foreman, but whatever. That's some. Look at all that food. Look how good all that looks. It looks so nice, so good.
I know.
And I can tell you the flavors are great.
All right.
Oh, yep.
Oh, that's breakfast there. eggs.
You know,
See, I'm not a big bean, and I'll put up with some that, but that that's a personal thing. But
yeah, no.
But otherwise, overall, especially that bacon.
That looks good.
Everything's good with bacon.
Yeah, absolutely. So El Chaton, go check them out. 2 locations, the over on 9th Street, and that are going to be kind of like on the north side of the road on 9th Street, and then on Holiday Road, which is the old Gene's Tasty Burger.
Gene's Tasty Burger. Okay. All right. Well, then what do we got next?
Well, local restaurant or local happenings.
Okay.
Tomorrow, Eddie Hill's Fun Cycles, 401 North Scott, downtown Wichita Falls, since 1966. EddieHillsFunCycles.com. We're going to have a chili cook-off. Now, this is a CASI chili cook-off. This isn't like just show up and bring some chili and throw it in the pot to get it to.
I'll put our picture over there.
Yeah. to enter, you have to be part of the CASI organization.
That's right.
These are serious cooks. It's really fun to watch them because they decorate their little areas. I mean, and they're just really a nice, fun group of people to be around.
But it's really a throwdown, man. I'm telling you.
Oh, it's for real. They're serious
they have
about
fun.
this.
Yeah,
But they're serious about it. But all proceeds go to benefit Emily's Legacy Rescue, which is the Clay County Animal Shelter, and Miss Fannie's Friends. And Miss Fannie's Friends will have cats. They're kitty cats, obviously. I mean, Stevie Wonder could see that they're cats. They're going to have cats there, and Emily's Legacy is going to have dogs there. So we're going to have some animals at the store that you can maybe meet and greet, and maybe you can go home with a furry friend, or at least get started with the process.
Yeah. Well,
so go by and check it out. Plus, they're going to have chili tasting cups for donations from 11 to 12. And so you get some really good chili there. And look, it's not a gallon of chili. You go through and they give you a taste, and you go through and you can taste all the different cooks. You know, it's really a neat deal. And that's for donations. All the money is going to go to benefit Emily's Legacy and Miss Fannie's Friends. The nice thing about these chili cook-offs as well, these cooks pay to enter this stuff.
Right.
And so when all that money, all the proceeds that they raise, all the money they raise goes directly to the charities. Yep. They when they do these cooks, they have to have a charity involved. That's part of the deal. If you're going to host a cook, you got to pick one or two charities, and that's where all the money goes through. So these people are having fun. They're doing what they do. They're enjoying themselves, and they're helping out.
There you go.
You can't beat it.
All right.
You can't whack it.
All right. Well, we have all that. Go check it out. I'll be there. You'll be there.
That's right.
And
I'm gonna be judging and everything.
There you go. All right. Well, what do we got next? Yeah.
Well, Tim Short announced his reelection.
Yes.
And he actually announced it last Thursday. Scott was on right there, and Scott was doing. So I didn't feel it was appropriate to kind of. I just didn't feel like that was appropriate.
Yeah.
That's so people that don't think that I don't have a heart, I do have a heart. Scott was here, and now Tim will be with us in the next 2 or 3 weeks. But Scott was here. We always respect our guests.
Oh, yeah.
Whether we agree or don't agree with our guests, and we're going to respect them. And I felt like it would have been disrespectful to talk about Tim Short's reelection and then bring Scott in right away afterwards.
Yeah.
Yeah. So but he did announce. I will tell you, I went to the announcement, and it was packed. It was at McBride's on Maplewood, and there was no square inches in that room that wasn't full of people. Got up, gave a speech, talked about what his accomplishments, and so he's running to be the mayor once again in Wichita Falls, and I believe it's 2 terms. I think they can only serve 2 terms.
Can we? Okay.
So, but it'll be interesting to see. Tim is, of course, I think Tim's done a great job as a mayor, and really has done a great job leading the city or leading the council to make some changes. Scott's got some great ideas, and so I encourage everybody to look at both of the candidates, look at what they talk about. I'm sure there's probably going to be some debates, and there'll be a lot of stuff in the media. Don't listen to what everybody else tells you. Yeah. Talk directly to the candidates. And the other thing is, both of these guys are going to be available. Yeah. They're both going to be available to talk to.
Right.
If you can't find Tim Short in Wichita Falls, you ain't looking very hard. That guy's everywhere in Wichita Falls, and Scott's very available as well.
Right. Well, and I think
I'm acting like he's sitting here, but he's not here. He was here last week.
Last week, right. But now I think they're both really good guys.
They're good people,
honest, straightforward, and I think they're going to they're similar in a lot of ways. That's the hard part sometimes. I think with at least sometimes in our politics anyway. Sometimes we got really great two people going for the same thing.
Right? Yeah,
it's hard to differentiate.
You don't have a DSA candidate and a Tea Party candidate running against each. Right.
You
got two people that are
generally they agree, but how they're getting there.
Yeah,
right.
Exactly.
So,
but that's kind of how everything is. When you go to city councils or school boards and that sort of stuff, or even in the commissioners' courts in the county, most of the time they agree. You hear about the times that they have contentious debate, or the vote is a split vote. Most votes are unanimous because they make sense.
Yeah,
they're just things there's things you have to vote on that it's like, okay, why wouldn't we vote on this?
Right,
and that's how most things are.
Right. Well, and I think one of the advantages he has, at least in the current debate, is that he has some. Even though he's not a data center guy. He's got his concerns, but he has an engineering background in one aspect.
You're talking about Scott.
Not Tim. Yes, not Tim. No.
We were talking about Tim.
Well, I know, but I was just. But anyway, I was just saying that there's you've got the different candidates there.
I do think that'll be a distinction. I think that may be one of the largest distinctions when you're looking at the two candidates. But I encourage everybody. I will say Tim. I believe Tim has done a great job as a mayor.
Oh, yeah.
I think Scott would do a great job if he's elected as mayor. So it will be everybody gets to make a choice. Right. And so we had Scott on last week. We talked about it, and then I wanted to announce that Tim Short has announced his reelection, and he'll be on with us in a few weeks.
Yeah, you'll get to hear from him directly on this show, and he'll have at least 30 minutes.
That's right.
So, all right. Well, then what do we got next?
Wichita Falls Athletic Hall of Fame. This is, I believe, the inaugural Hall of Fame for the Wichita Falls ISD Athletics.
Okay.
And I think this is great. Some of these are if you're from this area, these are very well known names, and for most of the names are very well known. I'm just going to run through the list real quick. Joey Abusi, of course, he was a great. Joey actually served on the school board at one time as well. Okay. He was a great football player at Wichita Falls High School and a state champion. Talia Brooks, she's been in the news a lot. She's an Olympian. Okay. She was at the last Olympics, and she's a heptathlete. She's from Ryder High School. Dub Deerenwater, he was a outstanding high school football player from Ryder. I believe he went to college and played football as well. Felly Donaldson, I don't know who this one is. This is Booker T. Washington. The ones I didn't know, I did like a little bit of a quick research. I believe he was a coach after high school. I don't know where he went to college or anything like that. Okay. But Felly Donaldson on the old Booker T. Washington High School. Now, Irvin Garnett. I do know who Irvin Garnett is. Irvin Garnett was not only a great, outstanding athlete at Booker T. Washington High School, he became an educator, and he became a very important part of the WFISD. Mr. Garnett, was a black gentleman, was integral in really bridging the gap during some of the really racially strife things. I wasn't around for that.
Was that in the 60s then? I mean,
the 60s and the 70s, and even into the 80s.
Right.
Because he got into administration. I believe at one time he was like assistant superintendent of schools.
Oh wow.
Yeah, he really rose up. But from what I understand, and once this isn't firsthand knowledge, but I've heard this from people that I really believe, that Mr. Garnett was very integral in making sure that both sides were heard and understood. Terry and I, we didn't live through this. No. I mean, you were technically alive right before integration, but you were so little you don't remember, and I wasn't even alive.
Right. Well, what affected me was that they told us we had to go to a certain school for second grade.
Right.
All the white kids essentially were bused to a primarily black neighborhood school.
Right.
And that was second grade only.
Desegregation was a weird thing. But you know what? I don't ever look back. I think when you say Nazis and stuff, there's some things you can look back and say, hey, they were all wrong or they got it wrong. I don't know about desegregation. I feel like there was some things that could have been done right, obviously. But I wasn't in the moment. Hindsight's 20/20.
Right.
So anyhow, and actually we have a field named after him. While I was on the school board, we named Booker T. Washington, which was McNeil field. It's well, now they've changed because of the new schools. But before the new schools, it was the other field that they played, main field they played sports on.
Okay.
Joe Golding. Joe Golding was a legend in Wichita Falls. He was a coach at Wichita Falls High School for years, served as the Wichita Falls ISD athletic director, and the field, Memorial Stadium Field, is actually named after Joe Golding.
Oh, okay.
Wichita Falls, Don King, Hershey High School, the greatest athlete or greatest football player to ever come out of Hershey High School, and and Hershey's had some really good players and had some players that went to the NFL. I don't think Don King played in the NFL. He did play in college, but he was an All-American. I think he's the only All-American that came out of Hershey. Okay. Offensive lineman. Ronnie Littleton, Wichita Falls High School. Ronnie Littleton was, I've heard Ronnie's name for years. He was a phenomenal high school athlete and college athlete, and I believe he got injured and I don't believe ever played professional football, but he very well could have. Bingo Merricks, Wichita Falls High School, outstanding basketball player. Bingo spent a whole career playing professional basketball all over the world. It's pretty phenomenal. So, and I know Bingo personally, and have known him for years, and he really deserves to be on this. Daisy Sligar. I did not know this was. I looked it up. She was the head tennis coach at Ryder High School for many years, and really not only developed the whole program of Ryder tennis, and Ryder tennis has been phenomenal. There's state champions that have come out of there and that sort of thing, and Mrs. Sligar was really a big part of that. Aaron Taylor, Ryder High School. He was one of my contemporaries. He played just a little bit before I did. Ended up playing his offensive line, went to Nebraska, played, and then actually played a little bit in the NFL. Oh. Okay. And then Lawrence Williams, of course, from Wichita Falls High School, one of the great high school standouts there, went out, played great college football, and did play in the NFL for several teams, I believe. So this is a really good representation of some of the great high school athletes or people that were involved in athletics, coaches and athletes. And I think this was a great list, and whoever came up with it, I applaud them for this list because you probably couldn't get any better than an inaugural class.
Yeah. Okay. Well, there you go. And
like a camel this morning. I don't know why my mouth is so dry.
All right. Well, it's not cool in here. I got it.
And I don't have the hump.
That's right. All right. So
that's an English term. Have you ever heard that? Don't have the hump. Do you have the hump? That means are you upset?
Oh.
Yeah.
Well, okay. You don't have. Okay.
I've heard. Of course, my wife being English, I've heard before.
Oh, I'm sure.
So and so really gave me the hump.
Yeah. Well,
I don't. It almost sounds bad, but it just means that you're upset.
Okay. Well, I'll try to remember that when next time I use it.
I always wonder how phrases come about. I wonder if it's a cat's back. Because when you get a cat upset, they hump their back up.
That might be.
I don't know.
Well,
if only we had
Chat GPT or something.
Box.
Yeah, let's see here. What is it called? The phrase?
Hump. Why do English say, give me the hump when they're upset?
Hump. Yes, let's see here. Let's see what
Chat GPT says.
It says, to irritate, bother, or displease a person, you can also get the hump, which means to become salally or start sulking yourself.
Okay.
Example, his rude comment really gave her the hump.
I said that, yeah. But it didn't say where it came from, right?
Well, we got Cambridge Dictionary. I bet it'll give us a, But anyway.
Podcast.
Yeah. But anyway, just an interesting, go Google it yourself. And if you're
interested. I don't know what that is an English term, is someone gave me the right hump.
All right.
Or the right ump is what they say because they drop a lot of words.
Gotcha.
Or letters.
Yeah.
Okay. Number 2, people complaining about
Rand
Paul releasing Fauci's quote-unquote private diary.
See, I don't know how it got. I
can tell you. He did it on the government computer.
Oh, well, there you go.
And I'm going to tell you, if you work, first off, understand if you work for a private company,
it's their stuff. It's their.
But if you work for the government,
it's the government.
Every piece of paper you write on, every pencil
you
write on, it doesn't belong to you. Every bottle of water, if it's provided it's the taxpayer provided. That's not your bottle of water. I mean, you're getting to drink it. You're getting to use it. It didn't belong to you. You didn't buy it.
Right.
And on top of that, when you're on the clock, and I know somebody like Fauci was probably a contract person.
No,
He probably didn't make so much money an hour.
No. He was salary.
Yeah,
no doubt.
So when you're salary, you're kind of
He was on the executive schedule.
Yeah,
he was on an executive
which
schedule.
you kind of are
24/7.
24/7, but you do have regular. I mean, in other words, you really can't be held too accountable at 7:30 at night if you go to dinner and say something lewd or something like that. Chances are you really can't be held accountable. But if you're during office hours in your government purchased office, sitting at a government purchased desk with a government purchased computer, and you're writing your stuff down, that is not private.
No, it's a public record at that point.
It's a public record, and they have the right to look at it. But people need to understand it's the same in private business.
Yeah.
If you go to work for a company, everything you do on the clock.
If you're issued a phone, an iPad, computer, or whatever.
Or especially if you're issued something.
Yeah.
That doesn't belong to you. It belongs to that company.
Right.
You don't have any you should not have any sense of privacy while you're on the clock.
Well, and to add to that, though, sometimes some employers will require you to have your own computer, but they issue you the software. And they say you're using Teams and you're using Outlook and Microsoft Exchange and all that. Those subscriptions and the place where that data is ultimately stored, all the emails, all your files that you've created are also the property of that company. And that you got to know it. You got to know you don't have that level of privacy. So a lot of people have just chosen to just keep literally, even though they could use a a work computer, use their personal devices for work. A lot of people just choose, nope, I'm dividing that line, and I understand it.
I don't
have anything to hide personally, and I'm not saying anybody does.
But you also don't want it to be public record.
Right.
So it goes back to if you're at work and you need to make a private call, your employer may allow that. I do. My people they text and make calls privately or personal calls and stuff like that. As long as they're getting their job done and they're not disruptive to customers, I don't have a problem with it.
Right.
But they do need to understand they don't have a right to privacy if you're on the clock. Now, you can clock out, you go sit in your car. I can't go out there and listen to your conversation at that point.
Right.
But if you're clocked in and you're standing there and I walk up and go like this, you don't have a right to tell me to go away.
Right.
Now, I wouldn't do that. I'm not saying I'm a jackass. I'm just because you would be. But I'm just simply saying, don't think that you have a right to. This is a private conversation. Not when you're on my clock, it's not.
No.
And not when you're on the government clock.
The only place you get privacy would be in the bathroom.
Absolutely, yeah. You do have privacy there.
The only place, yeah. So,
yeah.
You know.
But the fact is, when people are like going to Fauci's defense and saying this is unfair and this is that, no. He's using government time, government computers, government data. He chose. He could have kept a personal computer and that sort of thing. So.
Yep, he should have been a little. I mean, he was with the government for how many years? 30.
Long time.
He was
long time
golly.
Employee,
So anyway, he deserved what he got, and he's continuing to deserve what he got. I'm sorry, that whole don't get us started.
All right, a couple more things to go through here. Wichita Christian cancels their varsity football season this year.
Oh.
Wichita Christian they were the state champions 2 years ago, and they decided that they don't have enough players to be low participation to be safe, which I don't really know. I think they play 6-man, so I don't really know how many players they're short. Right. I do know that Harold High School a few years ago, I think they got one of the girls to come on and play on the team so they could have 6.
Wow.
Yeah, and I don't know if Wichita Christian is that low on people, but anyhow.
Yeah. Well,
and before our guest comes in, last thing, J.D. Vance chairs the task force to eliminate fraud, and he made remarks Wednesday that the effort is identified. Are you sitting down? And then you'll hear from these people. It's a drop in the bucket. It's not a drop in the bucket. $230 billion.
That's nearly a quarter of a trillion
of suspected fraud so far, and they've been able to stop $56 billion in fraudulent payments that wouldn't go to fraudsters.
Well,
And let me tell you, I'm all for this. And if you'll go back in the archives, I just talked about the drop in the bucket because I kind of ran across it here fairly recently. Mike had a whole rant about quit using drop in the bucket.
Yeah.
Quit talking that taxpayer money that's going out the door fraudulently or being lost or whatever is a quote unquote drop in the bucket. Like it's meaningless. It's all dollars. It all means something. And it means that somebody is taking it that shouldn't get it.
Right. Yeah.
That's the other side. There's a finite amount of resources. And in the end,
Not in the federal government, apparently.
well, yeah, there should be a finite amount of resources. In the end, the people that need the help, our tribe, and when I say our tribe, Americans, okay? I'm a tribe person when it comes to that. Doesn't mean I don't want to help the rest of the world.
Right.
Doesn't mean I don't care what's going on in the rest of the world. I have family that lives in another country. My wife's from another country. She's an American now. But once you become an American, or you're here legally and part of our society, I want to be sure that we have the resources to help you if you need help.
Yeah.
And when people are stealing those resources and they're going to here, there, and yonder, those resources are being taken for people that deserve them,
Yep.
or should at least have access to them.
Right. Exactly. Yep.
And it's wrong.
Yeah, it's and just if in fact they're $230 billion, that would make a huge difference in the national debt. I mean, believe it or not, and it
Well,
does.
everything
That's
does.
nearly a quarter of $1 trillion. That's crazy, and that's something that you and I can't even imagine, especially a trillion, even much less, even 230.
But you have to also consider it's like anything else. It's not like it's 230 trillion one time. It's probably 230 or 230 or billion this year,
Right.
and next year.
Oh, yeah.
And next year.
Well,
and next year.
and-
And at some point, that really starts making more of an impact.
Well, how about that? This goes right to the what the heck's that kid's name? That I say kid. He's actually he's going around. He found all the Somali.
Oh yeah. In fact, California has banned him.
Well, yeah. He's been banned in California, but he went to Minnesota when all that was going down. All the Somali.
He discovered the Leering Center.
Yeah, the Leering Center. That's it.
Yes,
So,
yeah.
but anyway, so we'll go on, I guess. What else?
Yeah, well, JD Vance, they're doing a great job there. I'm all for this, and it's not getting the negative attention that Doge got. It's basically the same thing.
Well, it is.
It's basically they're doing the same thing, but they're not calling it Doge. And I think the media and the liberals are having, or the leftists, not the liberals, the leftists are having a very hard time attacking it compared to the way they could with Elon Musk, the evil empire.
Well, just keeping last thought, we are nearly $40 trillion in debt. 40 trillion. That's okay. Anyway, I don't even know what to think about that. But anyway,
just write a check and fix it all.
there you go. Yeah.
They'll take
and
checks.
text.
Emily Antonio,
Yes,
come on in.
come
We're
on,
doing a live
live.
transition here.
Hello.
Hi, how are you doing?
I'm doing fantastic.
Nice
How
to
are
meet you in person.
Nice to meet you.
All right.
Yep.
And oh no, that's
Look,
the
we have
TV.
every
Oh,
day.
there we go.
Oh, applause.
Oh yes, we have to.
Oh,
There we go. And we are live.
Yep.
Just to remind you, we live stream, and
We
so
live
what goes
stream, we
out
do
goes
everything.
out.
I love it. Amazing. Let's do it.
Yep. So be sure to share this when you're done here
Yes.
for all your friends and family and all that.
Oh yeah.
course.
Let them know and.
100%.
So, Emily Antonio, tell us a little bit about yourself. You're here because you're with Turning Point USA, Midwestern State University.
Yes.
Okay. Tell us about how that came to be
Well,
here.
first off, let's get your background. Where are you
yes.
from? Are you
Okay,
from
so
Wichita Falls? Are you from somewhere else? Or?
yeah, so I'm a military brat, so we've been through it. I'm the oldest sibling. I have two siblings, a younger sibling. Her name is Evie. She's about 9 years old, and then my brother, he's 13. Okay. And they are just a handful, but they're a blessing, right? So I have, an amazing family. My parents are amazing, Marissa and Zayed, and we were moving around a little bit. We moved from New Mexico, Clovis, New Mexico, which had absolutely nothing. I mean, the best thing we had was a Walmart.
Right.
So it's very humbling to move to Wichita Falls because we have Sam's Club and all these amazing stores. And we were looking for a church home, and then we got plugged into Wichita Falls. We love the community. I mean, the people here are just amazing. It's just such a welcoming atmosphere. And I never realized how much was here until I actually moved. And so it's just an amazing place. I went to Burke Burnett Middle School, Burke Burnett High School, great education system, amazing staff, and
Go Bulldogs.
yeah, I love them. And
School I went to was a rival of Burke Burnett way back in the day, though.
Which one was it?
I was a Hershey kid.
Oh, yeah.
My kids were Hershey. I know. My kids were those IB nerds.
And then I went to Midwestern State University. My first semester was last fall. And Turning Point actually started a few days after Charlie's death. I was just heartbroken. I was distraught over the entire assassination. It was just a really dark day.
Yeah.
And I really prayed on it, and I really felt like the Lord had called me to start a chapter on our Midwestern State University campus. And I was a freshman at my time. You know, it was my first semester at college, and this was a big deal for me to start a student organization. And I just asked God to give me the courage and give me the bravery to do this. And I got in contact with TPUSA staff and found out that 4 students at MSU wanted to start a chapter as well.
Oh wow.
I was like, praise God, this is awesome. We already have a great team, a strong team, and they are amazing. I mean, our team is just awesome. They are on fire for the Lord, and we just all have the same mission and the same passion. And so we've just been getting on campus. We started getting on campus in January. We kicked off, and we've had amazing conversations. We've had some pretty interesting conversations you could think of with some leftists, but and we've had some fun events. I've been able to go to the Baylor Tour Stop with TPUSA and meet Benny Johnson and a few other people, and then I went to Women's Leadership Summit, met Riley Gaines, and just so many amazing opportunities with Turning Point USA. People don't see it. It's awesome. And I actually had the opportunity as well to go to Washington, D.C., in July.
Yeah, you actually had to push out your. Remember, we had to reschedule because you were going to be somewhere, Florida or Washington or someplace. And
I got to have breakfast with Erica, and it was such a blessing to be able to just sit down and talk to her. And I mean, I'm just so humbled to be in the position that I am in right now.
So now, what are you studying? Let's go back to college real quickly. What are you studying at Midwestern State?
So I'm studying marketing.
Okay.
Marketing is my thing. I have a passion for it. I love it. You got to be creative for it, though.
That's true.
I've learned that. So I've been trying to work on the creativity, and then I also love nonprofit organizations. So I'm considering getting my minor in that.
There's something about volunteering is a huge thing. It actually fills your soul. And being part of a nonprofit, like to lead the nonprofit world, it's you know, it's one of those things. You're not going to get rich doing it, but there's a lot of fulfillment to it.
Right.
So that's great. So how many students are involved at Turning Point USA MSU right now?
So right now we started off with 30, but then we had seniors that were leaving. So we're at 15 right now. Really strong team. That's what we're working on this summer actually is chapter recruitment. We want to get strong members that have the right heart for the organization. So.
Well, I've got the website pulled up here. Let's see here, get the 3 of us. So this is the MSU chapter Facebook page, right? So anything on here that's just kind of things have been going on out there.
So this is how people get connected. So do you have events? Go ahead.
Oh, I was saying that McCartney, yes. Bob McCartney.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Dr. Bob?
Yeah.
So do y'all hold events at the campus or outside the campus?
We do. We host a lot of events. So, first we have our tabling events that we have on campus.
Explain what that is.
So tabling, Turning Point USA, we promote and we identify, educate, and organize students to promote principles about free markets, individualism, physical responsibility, and limited government. And so what we do is we go on campuses and we table and we promote those principles, but we also have open dialogue with students, and it's respectful open dialogue.
And that Charlie Kirk was very well. I mean, he was all over the internet. Yeah. Having those debates with people, but it was friendly or as friendly as it could be. Yeah, I understand. I mean, I was an old debate guy. I used to debate in high school and college, and I know how those can get nasty, and everybody's. Yes. It's not even political, and everybody can get nasty.
It can get heated.
But I think Charlie Kirk was really a masterful, like you said, a master at having those debates and staying calm in the line of fire. But the thing is, the guy knew his stuff so well, you're going to have a hard time stumping him.
Right, because he was so educated. And the thing that I loved about Charlie debating is that he debated with those students in a stern way, but it was loving. It was like a father's love. And, oh, man, I just wish I could have talked to him in person, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But yeah, so we do our tabling events, and we have open dialogue with students on campus and debate about, deportation policies, abortion, and a few other things. But yeah, they've been really good conversations. And then we do chapter meetings. We've been doing them up at Legacy Church. We do like game nights. We do, what was the one that we did? Conspiracy theory night. Oh my gosh, that was crazy. Oh my gosh, it was amazing.
So tell me about that. That sounds fascinating.
Yeah,
so what happened there?
we talk about like aliens, if they actually exist.
So people come in with their conspiracy theories?
Their own conspiracy theories, and we debate.
Okay.
That would be interesting. The problem is I'm 54 years old. It would be creepy me showing up at a college event, You're like, whose dad is this? Or whose grandpa is this almost?
We do movie nights, like we watched Matt Walsh movies, a bunch of other stuff, and game nights are our biggest hit. It's a great way to connect and just hang out. And
so what game play, like Trivial Pursuit, or what do y'all?
We do Uno. Uno gets really spicy.
Oh yeah, Uno can be
very very spicy. And we do some other ones like Head, Shoulders, Knees, Cup. And so it's like one of the new games that came out, and it's really cool. But we do some other stuff like that as well. It's so much fun.
So you find time to do your schoolwork as well, right?
Yeah.
I'm gonna be dad here. By the way, be sure to do your school. No, I'm just kidding.
You have no choice but to balance it, right?
That's right. Yeah.
And so many people in college, they focus so much on academics only just to get that 4.0. And actually, my understanding is these days, or it should be anyway, that so you don't get a 4.0, but if you have a 3.5 or even a 3, but you're doing a lot of stuff, really making a difference.
College is that's part of college.
Right.
It's part of the college experience is not just going to class and learning.
Right.
Because honestly, if you did that part, you really could probably do it in about a year and a half.
Right.
Or 2 years. But it's part of the getting out of the house a lot of time for a lot of people.
Right.
Getting on your own, learning to deal with other people, learning to deal with people, other backgrounds, not just and races. The racing is dead. I know people keep trying to beat the horse of a race dead. It's have and have-nots. I was on the school board for 12 years in Wichita Falls, okay? It's the haves and the have-nots. It doesn't matter what color they are. Doesn't matter where their parents are from or anything like that. Mm-hmm. It's people who have, no matter what color they are, tend to have to be kind of one way as far as being able to have the knowledge and experience. And people who the have-nots, they don't have a lot of knowledge and experience. Right. That's what it boils down to. But that's the nice thing about college. You learn from other cultures. You learn from other people and not just cultures, just where people are from. And you learn other viewpoints. And that's a huge part of college. And I think I'm glad that you're tied into that.
Yeah, It's truly amazing. Being able to hear other people's stories and their backgrounds and their cultures and their upbringing. I mean, the upbringing has a huge role in people's life. And being able to just talk to them about that, it's really eye-opening.
Well, you get a little bit more of why they may believe what they believe. Because so often it's you're I hate to use the word indoctrinated, but to some extent while you're growing up, you're learning your family's experience, and if your family may have not been in financially well done, or taken care of, or if you've had a lot of adversity in your in the life, and depending on the morals and things as you grew up, you might maybe have one view versus another, that maybe the government owes you this versus not owing you this. And, so anyway, that's
true. Yeah. If that's the culture of family, it makes a difference. I will tell you real quick, you talked about debating on deportation. My wife's an immigrant. So she hates illegal immigration. So always keep that in mind from a person who came here legally, went through the steps, paid the money, took her time. She's an American citizen, but it took her close to 10 years to become an American citizen from start to finish. And that's a side of it that a lot of people don't look at if they're anti-deportation for illegals. They don't look at the fact is, what about the people who came and did it legally?
Right.
And went through the process. Yeah. And so now if you're just going to say, okay, well, ollie oxen free, everybody just come in, what are you doing to those people? And those people who said, she's an American by choice. Yeah, we were born here. You know, we're kind of lucky. We kind of hit the lottery by being born Americans. She became an American by choice. And what are you doing to people like that? Their morale for the country when you say, it really didn't matter. All that you did and you sacrificed for it doesn't matter.
All right. So what is the biggest thing going on right now as far as issues or things that you're running into or that you're helping with or something that's y'all are passionate about right now as an organization?
Passionate about right now
Yeah.
is
What's the big topic?
midterms.
Okay.
Midterms. That's what we're big on right now is, watching, hey, how can we get on campus and influence these, college students and talk to them about, conservative principles and conservative values and why you should lean more towards conservative than left, because it plays a huge difference. And there is so much ideology that is poured into our college students on campus, and we need to combat against that because ultimately, in my opinion, I'm a Christian. I'm very strong in my faith. I believe when I walk onto that campus that I'm walking in spiritual warfare, and I have to put on, the armor of God, and I have to go on that battlefield basically and talk to these students and talk to them about these conservative values and be like, hey, this is why you should lean more this way, is because these are what we promote, and this is what's going to be better for your life.
Right.
One of the biggest, issues that we've also been talking about is a fraud as well. We've been, in deep conversations about that. We actually, at Chapter Leadership Summit in Washington, we got to meet Nick Shirley and hear him on stage.
Yeah.
And just, oh my gosh, he's so courageous. And I can't imagine, going into those cities and being full of fear and wondering, what's going to happen to me. He's just so brave and courageous. And he is willing to talk about the fraud that's going on behind the scenes. And it's just awesome. So we've been really deep into that and talking about it.
Right. Well, I think it's it's a talent. It even though he may come across to some as arrogant, but that's okay because he needs to. Somebody has to push the buttons to root it out.
Let me tell you, you have to have a level of confidence.
Oh yeah.
And courageousness, like you said, to be able to put yourself out there because you really don't know what's going to happen. You don't have any protection.
Well, look at Charlie Kirk. I mean, he that the ultimate price he paid for that, but now I think it's as a result of it. Clearly, Turning Point has gained in popularity much more than it was. It would not have been known
that assassination put fuel on the fire. I mean,
it did, and that's an
unfortunate
way of getting
the
there.
Way it happened, but I think it really did. I think it galvanized people.
Right.
Yeah, and it gave, and I think but it also gives you that platform to move forward, and it's where God makes things better even out of a tragedy,
right.
and he didn't create it. But he certainly can use it for good as that's his thing. God's thing is to do that, right? Yeah. I mean, that's what we make good of it all.
Especially after Charlie's murder, I saw, I got so many phone calls about people talking about Charlie and how they were turning back and reading their Bible for the first time again. Right. I mean, I truly saw a generational awakening in our country. Right. I saw so many people, just come back to the Lord.
Well, and one thing though that I think we have to caution on I say our side is that as important a job that Charlie Kirk was doing and then Turning Point USA, that he was a man. He's not a God. And I truthfully, I think we have some who are all advocates for him have gone overboard on some things. And I think that he was a man. But he had a great mission. He had all of that's respectable, but he was still a man. He should not be elevated to the God level, which I think some people, I don't think intentionally necessarily, but I think you can get so passionate on something, you got to tamper that a little bit and ask for that kind of guidance as well.
Right.
So
because that
just
can
a thought.
turn into idolization.
Right.
So.
What amazes me is, and I can only imagine, because I went to Midwestern State as well, but it was in the early 90s, so a little different time.
Yeah.
And she's probably, I wasn't even born in it. But the amount of, I don't say liberal, it's more leftist now.
Right.
I have a big distinction. I grew up around conservative people, liberal people. There weren't really the far right or the far left at the time. There was a little, but nobody paid attention to them. I can always deal with liberal people. I've always been a fairly conservative person, but somebody who's liberal, but they can articulate what their thoughts are. They may have a little bit of a disagreement than I do, but they still are patriotic. They're still Americans. They still believe that that good people should be good, and the good in people and stuff like that. But that seems like they've been dragged. The liberals have been almost co-opted and dragged to the left in so many ways. And I can remember Midwestern State University being relatively conservative, but I still had several liberal professors back then. But I can only imagine the amount of liberalism that's there now, because that was in the early 90s when not everybody was indoctrinated. We had one professor who, Bill Clinton was actually, it was the year that Bill Clinton was running against George Bush. And he told us, he said, I'll let everybody leave if you're going to go vote for Clinton. And I asked him afterwards, I was like, I forgot his name, anyhow, I told him after, I said, dude, that's crazy. I said, you can't say stuff like that. Well, you can't vote for that fascist or whatever. He was calling George Bush a fascist and all that. But anyhow, so I can only imagine how amped up that fight you have to have with the liberalism, the leftism.
It is. It's very normalized being left. It's so normalized. And I think sometimes it's kind of like, oh my gosh, I feel like an outcast because I'm a conservative. And that's what Turning Point at USA at MSU is doing, is we don't want people to feel like an outcast or feel like they have to be silenced because they're conservative. We want them to have a space to go onto our campus and have open dialogue with students and talk about disagreements. People don't want to talk about disagreements anymore, and it's so sad.
That is absolutely right. It is a terrible thing when one side, either one is shut down, or they quiet you. We hang back and don't want to say anything for fear that you would be, So there may not be any active, hey, we're shutting you down, but you don't feel confident or you don't feel safe using the other side. You don't feel safe saying anything, and that's sad that we can't have the discussions on a agree to disagree ultimately.
Well, you could disagree without being disagreeable,
right? And
it's what I've seen is too many people want to silence somebody rather than listening to their side and saying, in the end, okay. Right. You believe what you believe, I believe what I believe, and we're going to disagree with that.
And we'll argue it at the ballot box.
That's right. but instead of screaming at you and calling people names and you're this and you're that, it's like, no, I just have an opinion.
Right.
And I'm sure, and we have our, on the right, if you will, that we've got people who are wrong way, but also, but we got to teach our side to also be reasonable and don't try to shut down the other side. And I feel, of course, we're going to all feel whether, it's hard to prove either way, but I feel like, that they have the advantage or have had, on the left for a while, having the media and they have everything else.
They've got a bigger bullhorn.
Right. So but I think things have kind of turned back the other way, that at least we can listen to each other, hopefully, and just pray for that. That's really what it comes down to, is we need to kind of get that help from God and every other thing we can use to try to get that conversation going. We have to talk about it. By not talking about it, hides it and it lets it fester, and it, I think that's bad.
Yeah, I think, going back to what you were saying about the media, I am just in shock of how much propaganda and misinformation is being poured on social media and the news and everything. I'm just like, this is crazy. So when I was actually a teenager, I was 13 or 14 during the COVID era, best time ever.
Yeah.
Oh, gosh. I was on TikTok and Instagram and all these social media platforms, YouTube, watching the news constantly, and it just invoked so much fear into me. And I started believing the lies that the media was pushing towards the audience and talking about, just all of this junk, like Black Lives Matter movement and some other things that were going on during the time. And I was actually very left when I was younger. And my parents are conservative, and they were like, Emily, this isn't the right thing to believe in. And they tried to pour so much into me, but I was so hardened. I was like, no, but this is what social media is telling me. And when I finally got plugged into high school and I started figuring out Christian values and really diving deep into the Lord with, my relationship with him and looking more and watching more Fox News and actually watching, debates with Charlie, I started to consider, I was like, well, why am I so left? Because I believe in, right principles and values. And I started, diving deeper, and I was like, wow, I'm actually conservative. I just have been watching all these left view and left wing organizations.
Yeah. Well, you're young enough. You're an adult now, and you went through all of that. I'm trying to think of what it would be like when we grew up. It was, it's always simpler.
When you grew up, there was horse and buggy.
Oh, whatever.
I'm not quite as old as you were. We grew up.
So I got 6 years on you.
Yeah,
Geez. But anyway, but I can imagine that even during that time. I mean, here's an old school thing we used to say. When I was in high school, literally, I'm not making this up. You can check it out. Even in the 80s, you could drive to school. We had guys that were in we called them ropers. They worked on a farm, or their family was, and they'd come in. Literally, have a rack in the back of the vehicle, of their truck, and there's a shotgun on it. Right?
I used to do that.
I'm just saying.
I got called twice by the principals.
Now,
like, Trey,
now that's
take your gun to the house, please.
Yeah, the federal law has kicked in now. What used to be literally perfectly okay. I mean, I made in high school wood shop. I made a crossbow. A weapon I made in my shop. I mean, there's things like that, and now, there's so much more law on that, and I understand it to an extent, but there's much more. We got social media. There's so much. I was a nerd in computers. Nobody did computers back then, but I learned along the way. But I can't imagine today with the propaganda, that the social media, the algorithms and all of that you kind of became a victim of for a bit until you kind of grew up and was able to kind of get out of that and through reflection. So what do you think? I mean, I don't know.
It just shows the power of influence.
Yeah.
And it's just heartbreaking to see, young people get tied into that. And what we're trying to do is trying to break people from that. We're trying to show them, hey, it's okay to have open dialogue, civil discourse, and it's okay to not agree on everything.
Right.
But it's not okay to be silent and not have conversations anymore. And so many people have been comfortable with not having conversations with people they disagree with.
Right, but that's healthy to be able to have. It
actually is, and I'll tell you, one of the best
face-to-face
best tools that I've used when I've debated somebody and disagreed with them, and they would say, call people names. Donald Trump's evil. Okay, tell me why. I'm listening. I'm opening. If you can cite me some examples of evil.
Because he's a racist.
Then,
that's what I'm just saying. And then it's like, why do you think he's a racist?
Tell me why. Show me an example. I need examples. You could call me an arsonist, but if you can ever say that I've ever started a fire, then you can call me an arsonist all you want, but I'm not an arsonist because I never started a fire, right? So it's the same type thing. But when you catch people, I've caught people in those loops, and they can't come up with it. Oh, he is. But he's not. Well, don't say you don't like him. Say he's an asshole. Say he's arrogant. He is. Okay, I'm okay with that. But don't say he's evil.
But every policy.
You can give me an example of being evil.
But they'll say, this particular policy is racist. Right. He actually did this, and that thing that he did is racist. And it's like, wait a minute, no. And they don't want to listen to the other possibility. Well, okay, so you think what he did is racist, and I don't have an example, right?
Tell me an example, Terry. Come on.
I know, but pick the issue, pick the thing that he did, and because there is some things he's done. I mean, he's cut. He did all these executive orders and all that. You can pick any one of those things. It's like, well, no. Have you thought about that? Maybe this side. Oh no. And it's all. Here's what it comes down to: is trust. Can you trust in that person and what they say? Now, how you got to that belief of mistrust or full trust or whatever. Think about it and analyze. Did you come up with that on your own, or did you do it? Of course, the reality is we don't know Trump himself in his heart. We don't know. No. We can't. We will probably not ever know. No. But we have to just try our best to try to align our values with their values or with what they're doing. And I don't know. That's hard. But how do you? I mean, just as a young person now and coming out of being a teenager and becoming a better adult and all of that and learning what you've learned. I don't know. What are your perspectives on all that?
So, talking to students about all the stuff that's been going on with Epstein files and everything.
Right.
So I had a conversation, actually. It was at the MPEC, the 4th of July deal that was going on.
Yeah.
I was around there, and I was talking to some middle school students, and they were talking to me, and they're like, you know, they need to release the Epstein files. Trump is a racist. Trump is
Middle
a
school
fascist.
students asking about Epstein files.
And,
Oh, my God.
I actually had another girl come up, and she was like, I think this is, disgusting what you're promoting. And I was like, why? And she was like, well, it's because Trump is orange. And I said, okay, so you think it's disgusting because Trump is orange. Tell me about some policies that you don't agree with or some things that you're against. And she was like, oh, well, I don't really know. And she, started getting flustered. And it's like, I don't want to have conversations where people are afraid to talk to me. Yeah. I just want, it to be respectful. But the thing is, like, it ultimately comes down to critical thinking. And so many people don't, critically think anymore.
That's true.
And so that's, what I've been having to kind of deal with. And then actually on the college campus, I've had some really good conversations. Like, we had this guy come up to us, and he was very aggressive the first day, just yelling and screaming in my face about a certain, I think it was about the Second Amendment.
Right.
So the Second Amendment. And he's actually come up to every single tabling event that we've had, and he's become more respectful and more calm. And so it's just amazing. But yeah, we've definitely had some good conversations. Some of them I wouldn't have expected to have, but they were good.
So how many people are in Turning Point USA nationwide?
Nationwide. So there's a lot. From what I know, based off of stats, we have more than 1,200 Club America chapters that have opened up. Club America is our high school chapters. And then we've had a ton of college campuses, campus chapters open. And we have a good amount of staff. I'm not really sure. I can't give you a number. I don't have that on me.
I just didn't know because we covered the DSA platform the last two shows. We did part of it because we didn't want to just do that, so we did part of DSA platform and then did the second part. And they're loud, and you hear about this and you hear about that, but they said that their membership's about 1 million people. That's a small, tiny fraction of the United States.
Right.
Yeah.
But they're getting all of this media coverage and all this attention. And yes, there are some candidates that are DSA candidates that are winning, but they're not winning in Idaho. They're basically going to very blue districts that were going to go blue anyhow and just went a little bluer. Yeah. That's all they did. They're not knocking off Republicans and knocking off, very popular candidates and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So.
Well, we are the largest youth conservative movement, so that definitely says something.
Yeah.
Well,
I'd be interested to know.
Yeah.
So.
Well, anyway, I think it's just an interesting topic about, especially the way that you guys do the tables and want to open up that conversation, and hopefully you do one little bit at a time, and we can change hearts. That's really what I think. It's like. You can pick the topic, abortion. You can pick, the whole immigration. It comes down to changing the heart and the minds in an equal way, and that's okay. That if ultimately you come down to a conclusion that maybe you still stick by it, but at least if you really think about it and come up with your reasons why. I mean, you guys would love, and I think we'd all love people to adopt God is in their hearts and all of that, but then I think there's room for disagreement even within that,
Well,
but if you don't, you don't, and we still love you anyway.
Right. If you don't want to be a Christian, that's fine. I mean, this is a free country, but just have high moral standards. I've known people that they considered themselves atheists, but they weren't bad people. They had high moral standards. They just weren't Christians. And look, that's what America was founded on, was religious freedom. And I believe we just be respectful to everybody, and everybody be respectful when it comes to religion. So how do people get plugged in? How do people find out about you guys? What can people do? And by the way, is anything open to old people like us, or is it all a bunch of youth, a bunch of kids?
So we actually
rowdy kids.
We have some opportunities for you guys as well. We have TPUSA communities.
Okay.
Got the geriatric opportunities for you old people.
For the troublemakers. So we have that one for you guys. TPUSA communities. You guys can get plugged in and start going around your communities and your neighborhoods and talking to people about conservative values and principles. And to get plugged into TPUSA MSU, you can follow our Facebook and our Instagram. And we also have an interest form as well, and you can fill that out and put in your name, your email, and all of your information, and we will get in contact with you.
Awesome. Sounds great. Well, Emily, thank you very much for coming. Do you have any final words, closing words, or anything like that?
I don't know. The reason why I do TPUSA is to make heaven crowded and to promote conservative values and principles, and to create a space for students to be bold and courageous in their beliefs. So,
and I want to tell you, I do respect that.
I encourage you to join.
I respect the fact that you're willing to stick your neck out there. I can understand that because I always was as well. Stick your neck out there and state your beliefs, and just take the slings and arrows as they come.
Right.
That's it. Just stick by it.
You'll always be successful. You're setting yourself up to be a successful person in life, because you'll always be successful if you'll stand by your principles.
All right. Well, thank you for being here.
Thank you so much for having me.
I guess next Friday, 7:30.
Yeah, Donnie Lee, Wichita Falls ISD superintendent, will be with us.
And we have the movers and shakers, man. Right?
Well,
we do.
And we're booked up. We're booked up all the way through November.
Wow.
Yeah, I don't think we have an open date through November, and we may even have one in November right now.
All right, please share all of this. This is a great program. Learn about TPUSA at MSU. Learn about just share it and tell people.
Well, because you don't get this conversation, there's no place you can go and have a 30-minute conversation with anybody. You can't do it on the radio. You can't do it on any show, because they all have local media. They all have breaks. They all have commercials. They all have this. We don't.
Yep.
So we're just here to have fun and educate and do what we can to
Such a
spread
blessing.
the word. So,
Yep.
all right. Well,
Thank you very much. Nice to meet you.
Wrap it up here, and like Mike always said, though, that we will see you down the road.